Hey guys, today we're going to be making an AI competitive analysis tool using agents. We'll be able to give it just two URLs of the companies. It's going to draw up a table, create a diagram, and give us a full report on details of these two companies. The two libraries we're going to be using today are Streamlit and Agno. Streamlit is a super quick way to stand up a web application using Python. Because we're dealing with agents, a lot of the libraries are still only supported in Python, and Streamlit makes it super fast to stand up a web application. But the real secret sauce is Agno. Agno is a popular agent framework that makes building agents super easy. It also comes with support for various tools. We'll use Firecrawl today as an example to scrape company website in order to run the analysis. Here's a quick overview of how we're going to build this. As an input, we're going to take two different URLs that will get sent to the Firecrawl agent, which will take those links and crawl the pages, collect all the information, and structure the data in a way that can be provided to our comparison agent and analysis agent. The comparison agent is going to take that structured input and turn that into a table. And at the same time, the analysis agent is going to take that input and create both the radar diagram we looked at as well as the analysis, the full report. Let's start with the basic page setup. We want to be able to collect the API keys as well as collect the two URLs from the user to do the analysis. And as we mentioned before, we're going to be using Streamlit to do that. So we want to import Streamlit. Once that's done, we can simply use the Streamlit to set up the page UI. So we're going to set up the page title here, pretty straightforward, and then we can create a sidebar. The sidebar allows us to create this navigation panel here. And besides, API keys, we can put a bunch of configs or settings in here. In this case, we're just collecting the API keys. And with Streamlit, it has something called a session state, which you can think of as cached information that's persistent within that session. And lastly, we're going to collect the URL. All we do is call streamlit.textInput. Again, super straightforward, super easy to do. With this, we're able to get the basic UI setup. So now we can take a look at how it processes the data. If we go back to the high-level diagram, we can see that the first thing that happens is data collection using the Firecrawl agent. So let's take a look at how that's done. The if statement here creates the Analyze Company button. Once that's clicked, it's going to check that the URLs are actually populated, and it's going to call the extract competitor information. So we can take a look at what that does. This method takes a competitor URL, and it's going to initiate a Firecrawl app using our API key, which we've provided. And it uses a simple prompt along with the API call to extract the information. In the prompt, we want to tell the AI what information we want to collect. And the way we use the Firecrawl API is by calling the extract method and providing the URL. When we provide the URL, essentially what Firecrawl does is that we'll head over to that URL, we'll browse the page just like you would, and we've enabled web search here as well, which means that besides just reading the content on the page, it will also do a web search for that company, and it's going to extract the information we're looking for. And once we get a response, we want to provide a schema which tells the AI, or in this case Firecrawl, to provide data in a structured format. So we don't have to parse it. And we just have to check the data we get is valid and then create this competitor JSON, which gets returned. So this extract competitor info method will get the information we want just from the URL we provided earlier. The next step in this process is the actual data analysis. So here we can see that there are two agents. There's comparison agent and the analysis agent. Going back to our main function here, where we can see that it's going to collect the competitor data for both companies. And once that's done, we're going to call the generate comparison report. And this is where the Agno comes into play. That makes it very easy to build agents. Here, we're just going to get the data from the competitor data, which was completed a step before. And again, we're going to give the AI a prompt. You're an expert business analyst. We want to analyze the following competitor data in JSON format and create structured comparison. So we can see this comparison agent being called. Let's see where that's being initiated. So here we can see that it's super easy to create. All we have to do is call agent, tell it which model to use. We want to provide, allow it to use some tools, and we want to collect the data in a Markdown format. And the agent is basically imported from the Agno agent framework. Super straightforward. And besides the comparison agent, we also have the analysis agent and the Firecrawl agent. Again, the setup is super simple. You can see how you can create multiple agents very quickly and have them work together to carry out a task. So let's go back to our comparison agent. We created the agent. We're using the agent to do some analysis. And here it does some parsing to create that table we talked about. So far we've looked at how the data collection happens. We've looked at the comparison agent and how that creates a comparison table. Now let's take a look at analysis agent. To create a radar chart, we first define the metrics that we care about. Then we create a helper method to actually get the scores using a system prompt, asking AI to score the companies based on the data we collected. We will run that helper function on both companies and use default Python libraries to plot the data. So we'll add each of the companies and then plot the chart finally. As a result, it will produce this radar diagram with two different companies, which we can toggle on and off here, and a quick legend that explains what the scores are. Lastly, we'll take a look at the actual analysis report. Let's expand this. We can see that in this case, we're using the analysis agent, which we have defined earlier, using Agno. And to actually run it, we simply provide a prompt and give it some specific tasks. As a result, it's going to output this detailed report on the different topics we cared about. So that's a speed run of how we built this competitor analysis agent. But I think the key takeaway in this video is how easy it is to build any agent using some simple, free-to-use open source tools. As a quick summary, we use Streamlit to quickly stand up a UI frontend that allows us to use Python end-to-end. This is very important because a lot of these different AI libraries and frameworks right now are still only supported in Python. So it's nice that Streamlit allows us to use Python to build these web apps very quickly. The second component, and perhaps the most interesting, is our agent frameworks like Agno. If we take a look at the Agno documentation, we can see just how easy it is to create an agent. All we have to do is import Agno. We tell it what model we want to use. Here is using OpenAI, but it's very convenient to just change this to Anthropic or OpenRoute or another model. We provide a description, which is really just the roles and responsibility that the agent has, and we tell the agent what kind of response we want. This is just a basic agent, of course, but what makes agents special is that we can use tools. And with these agent frameworks, it's super easy to use various tools. All we got to do is create the agent and tell it what tools it has access to. In this video, we only use the Firecrawl tool, which allows us to scrape and crawl websites, but you can see that there are so many different tools that we can provide to the AI. We no longer have to write the boilerplate code or really the plumbing to provide AI with data. The AI now is able to use various tools to retrieve the data we need to process and analyze and do whatever we need to do. And with a combination of something like Streamlit and Agno and the various tools that comes with the agent framework, we can really build any agent very quickly. Thanks for watching till the end. I want to share that I'm building a really cool tool that generates interactive diagrams for code bases and for AI chats. One of the challenges that I face when I'm coding with AI is that AI is making so many changes so quickly that I lose track of what's going on. And if I don't understand what's going on, it's really hard for me to debug or get unstuck when the AI inevitably gets stuck. So I find that with diagrams, it's much easier to stay on top of things, but more importantly, actually understand what the AI is doing and become a better developer myself. Instead of purely optimizing for speed, I'm actually learning along the way and becoming more knowledgeable. So I'm looking for a few folks to beta test this. If you're interested, please fill out the quick form below, and I'll see you in the next video.